Works for today, Monday, October 29th, 2018.
Good morning. Roll call. Commissioner Garcia, Vice President Repenning, President James, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Jacinto are present. But President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Bureau of Contract Administration, Brett McReynolds.
Good morning, Pamela Ostrander, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Asad Al-Najjar, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Brad Jensen, Bureau of Engineering.
Rowena Lau, LA Sanitation.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we did receive a speaker card under general public comment for today's agenda. We do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section. And we also received speaker cards on item number 2, plus an email that has been distributed to all commissioners.
Okay, thank you. We'll close our Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Before we begin our voting items, we have a presentation this morning from our Assistant Director at the Bureau of Street Services for the Street Maintenance Technology Program Sweeping School, Mr. Mose.
Good morning. Keith Mose, Assistant Director, Bureau of Street Services, Board President, Board members, fellow city managers. Today we're here to give 14 certificates to students who have graduated the Bureau of Street Services Motor Sweeper Operator course. We want to thank the Board for Public Works for the continued support. I want to thank the students' family members who are present today, who basically have sacrificed 14 weeks of their family members' time to attend this course. I'd also like to thank Madeline Smith and Lydia Hernandez, the program coordinators. Of course, our esteemed Abraham Navarro, former Assistant Director, who heads this program, and our instructors who are here today, Doug Harvey and Frank Gamboa. The purpose is to provide for motor sweeper operators, the Bureau of Street Services with qualified personnel to operate its motor sweepers, to enable participants to take the City of Los Angeles motor sweeper exam upon successful completion of this course. The Bureau of Street Services employs 100 motor sweeper operators, but due to high attrition, there is a constant need to train current employees in the operation for the maintenance and repair of motor sweepers. We started this program in 1985 with the Los Angeles School District. The Bureau developed and implemented this program and carried it on through Los Angeles Trade Technical College. And I'd like to bring up Madeline Smith so we can pass out the certificates for our next generation of motor sweeper operators.
Thank you, Mr. Mose.
Any questions or anything? Or?
Well, no, you are here on this terrific program about, what, twice a year?
It depends on our need. Right now, it should be once or twice a year, yes.
Okay. How long has it been going on?
Since 1985.
Great. Well, thank you for the continuing work of the Bureau of Street Services and of your division on this very important program. It is just critical to the work that we're doing in the City of Los Angeles and public safety and health as well. And we'll congratulate everyone after they've received their certificates.
And then I'll just say, as part of our succession program and things like that, this is a great succession program. These people that are graduating today, are 19 total, basically they can go operate a sweeper tomorrow as a relief sweeper operator, which we sorely need when people are off sick, vacation, things like that. And so they fill in immediately. And I know Dell has plans to bring in, as far as we promote these people, they become relief sweeper operators to bring in TLH workers to backfill their positions. Because if I promote 19 people into motor sweeper operators, that just creates 19 vacancies throughout the Bureau. So we have plans to basically continue our succession planning or continue our training and things like that. And I know I have to keep I'll keep it short and brief, but now I can bring up the
Great, thank you. I would only also thank Adel Haj Khalil, who's the new director of the Bureau of Street Services. And Mr. Navarro, always good to see you, sir. This brings you back to our chambers every now and again, and it's great that we still have you doing this work for us in your years of retirement. Thank you. Go ahead, Keith.
Okay. First, I'd like to bring up Melvin Aviles. Cesar Galvez. Chad Gibson. Miguel Gomez. Clayton Graham. Pilar Hogan. Emmanuel Mallet. Adrian Cavedo. Ricardo Ramos. Ashanti Richards. Isidro Rodriguez. Robert Ventura. Ray Villalobos. And last, Sean Yarborough. And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mosaic. Commissioner Davis.
Thank you very much to our Bureau Director, Dale Hatch-Khalil, and our Assistant Director, Keith Mosaic. The leadership that you have provided is exemplary in terms of the work that we have done in partnership with Los Angeles Trade Tech College. I think it is important for government to have collaborations with other institutions that matter. Training matters for employees, and I think it is great that we've been able to partner with one of our community colleges to make that happen. And I'm sure that the young men who are a part of our program had a great learning experience in that program. And so I commend you for what you have done. Also, I have observed that not only have we had a great training program, but in terms of the personnel that we have selected for the training, we have diversity. That is always for us and for other municipalities across the country a challenge to make sure that in the work that we do, that we spread it out to various areas of our city so that many people can benefit from the work that we have economically. And I think you've done an outstanding job in doing that. So I commend both Adele and you, Keith, in the selection of the young men that have been trained with LA Trade Tech's help. And we know that they are waiting to be able to come and work and be employed by what I believe is the greatest city in the country, and that is Los Angeles. So I once again commend you both for the leadership in this program, and I look, even more importantly, I look forward to the young men who have been trained being employees of the great city, and I would go on to say the great bureau of the Street Services Bureau here in the Board of Public Works. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Repenning?
I also just want to thank you, Keith, and the Bureau of Street Services. You've really been a leader at Public Works on workforce development and on finding ways to reach out and partner with organizations like LA Trade Tech and finding ways to train people and bring people up through the system so that they get continued professional development and opportunities to improve their skills and move up the ladder. To all of you guys who are here today, we thank you for your hard work for the city. Without providing clean neighborhoods and clean streets for our communities, none of us can say that we're doing the job that we're supposed to do. So you guys are the front lines on that, and we appreciate you every single day. And thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Commissioner Garcia?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you both for the leadership. In fact, thank you for the young, didn't get your name, the one that's out back there. Both the gentleman in the back. That's
Abraham Navarro.
Abe Navarro.
Navarro, sorry. I congratulate you because you started this since 1985. Is that right? So this is probably the reason why I do public service, is because I really love the fact of opening opportunities to new folks, to new families. I know that this is an opportunity to all the ones here to a different inequality of life, not only for them, but for their families. And so this is exactly why I do the work that I do. And I want to thank you both for continuing and maintaining this program. To everybody that was involved of this is fantastic because it's exactly what we want to pursue and make everybody here in LA move to the second level of their life. So congratulations to all. And to the graduates, congratulations, because your role is extremely important to us in the city. It is exactly why we, the city, get phone calls if the street is not cleaned or if it's not swept or anything. It's the majority of the things that we do here. So thank you all for all your hard work. It is really well acknowledged here at the city at our level as well. So thank you, everybody, for being here today, and to the leaders, of course. So I'm just really excited that this has been going on since 1985. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia.
Just real quick, thank you, Commissioner. And just as a footnote, Abe was my instructor, and I'm a graduate of the Motor Street Operator School as well. So.
Wow, excellent. Exhibit A. Keith Mose, thank you, sir. And let me just close by really echoing everything that's been said here. Thank you both to you and to the Bureau. Abe, thank you for your time. But most importantly, thank you all to the graduates. Congratulations to you. We look forward to all of your continued work for us and with us here in the city of Los Angeles and for the great residents of this amazing city. Thank you all. So the report will be received. Thank you. Anything else, Keith?
No, sir.
We're good? Okay, thank you. Is there a second to my motion to approve the meeting minutes from the meeting on Monday, October 29th, 2018? By Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Agenda items 1 and 2 are related. They are, number one is citywide exclusive franchise system for solid resources collection and handling, zero waste LA franchise system Recycla facility certification program plan. And agenda item number 2 is addendum number 2, the environmental impact report and facility certification program plan, citywide exclusive franchise system for solid waste collection and handling, and zero waste LA franchise system Recycla. So I will read these into the record, and then we will begin the hearing on agenda items 1 and 2. On agenda item number 1, there's a request that the board approve, recommendation actually from the Bureau of Sanitation, approve the Bureau of Sanitation Facility Certification Program Plan, and secondly, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to certify facilities on an annual basis. This item has been continued a number of times over the past few months, and we are happy to be hearing it today. Agenda item number 2 is recommending that the board first consider and adopt California Environmental Quality Act CEQA Addendum 2 with the Certified Program Environmental Impact Report and Addendum, and find the previously certified EIR and Addendum remain relevant. Number 2, find that no new effects would occur and no new mitigation measures would be required. The facility certification plan is within the scope of the program approved by the Certified Program EIR, that's Recycla, and the Certified Program EIR adequately describes the FCP for the purposes of CEQA, and the FCP is Facilities Certification Plan. Number 3, readopt the mitigation monitoring reporting program and mitigation measures set forth therein adopted by the city on April 15th, 2014 as set forth in Addendum 2. Number 4, readopt the CEQA findings and statement of overriding considerations adopted by the city on April 15th, 2014 as set forth in the addendum. Number 5, approve the Bureau of Sanitation Facility Certification Program Plan for the following types of facilities. And I've got A through I here. So 5A, solid waste transfer and or dirty MRF, that's materials recovery facility, a facility that accepts and transfers, pre-processes and or processes mixed solid waste materials. That's Recycla black bin materials. 5B, organic and green waste transfer and or pre-processing and or processing, a facility that accepts and transfers, pre-processes and or processes mixed organics, food and green waste, food waste or green waste materials. That's Recycla green bin materials, excluding compost facilities. 5C, sources separated or clean materials recovery facility, MRF, MRF, a facility that accepts and transfers and or processes commingled recyclable materials, Recycla blue bin materials. D, disposal landfills class 3. 5E, composting facilities. 5F, recycling centers for single stream procedures such as metal recycler or a glass recycler. Source separated or clean MRFs that process commingled recyclable materials do not qualify as recycling centers. 5G, solid waste transformation facilities. 5H, waste to energy facilities. And 5I, end user destinations such as food waste to farms for animal feed. Number 6, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to certify facilities for up to 5 years with a detailed review conducted annually. And number 7, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to file a notice of determination with the county clerk regarding the approval of the Bureau of Sanitation's facility certification plan. I have a number of speaker cards and we have a number of emailed items that we've received as well. Let's start with the Bureau of Sanitation with the representatives to let us know what we are doing here. So Mr. Helu or Ms. Wang or Mr. Myers, whoever would like to
Let me start. I'll turn it over to staff. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners. Alex Helu for LA Sanitation. First, I want to start by thanking the Board of Public Works for providing us a leeway and submit this plan. When we came back over here in April, there were some environmental concern, brought by attorneys, and we wanted to ensure that this document could withstand CEQA challenges. So we went back, and I know the board extended it multiple times. We thank you for your patience with us. Our city attorney has been very instrumental working with the LA sanitation staff on ensuring this document withstands CEQA challenges. I also would like to thank the community for being patient with us. When we started the Recycla program, there were two crux items that the council instructed sanitation to work on. One is the protection of the employees who work at these facilities. The basic elements as the protection, personal protection equipment, the dust, the air quality, those were very important elements of it. And we made sure in the Recycla certification plan, these are taken care of. The second one was the community concern. The community that surround these facilities are environmental justice. And they have suffered for a long time from diesel trucks that were idling outside the facilities. They suffered from emission, from debris, from litter that was leaving that facility into their neighborhoods. This facility certification plan addresses these concerns of the community. Our staff has a presentation for you that addresses all these points. But again, I want to thank you for your support, and I will turn it over to Dan Myers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. And by the way, let me just clear the record procedurally. Agenda item number 1, the item that had been continued, is being withdrawn. It's all encompassed into agenda item number 2, which includes the CEQA that is required of the hearing this morning. So go ahead, Mr. Myers.
Good morning, Commissioner. Dan Myers with LA Sanitation, Solid Resources Commercial Franchise Division. I am very pleased and excited to finally bring this item before your board for consideration. As Alex pointed out, this program is one of the cornerstones of the Recycla program. Through Recycla, we now have the ability and the responsibility to manage how our solid resources are handled. Our Recycla service providers are required to take all solid resources to facilities certified by the City of Los Angeles. This includes solid waste, recyclables, green waste, and food waste. As we move from the outdated model of simply burying our trash in a landfill, and we move towards resource recovery, it is important we do so in a manner that is designed to minimize the impacts of the facilities handling those resources. We must work to help minimize the impacts these facilities have on the environment, the community they operate within, and to help ensure healthy and safe working environments for the facility workers. Facility certification overview. This morning we'll be going over the goals of the program, the scope and benefits of the program, the Recycla certification requirements, the application that's needed, what happens if a facility is found to be not in non-compliance with our program, what we've accomplished to date, and finally an overview of our diversion and waste characterization studies. The goals of the Recycla facility certification program. Some of these we've already touched on, but the goals include providing health and safe work conditions for facility workers, reducing impacts to public health, the environment, and the surrounding environmental justice communities, providing a voice to workers and communities to report unsafe conditions, the ability to track material and handle waste processing, to assist the City of Los Angeles in meeting its zero waste goals, and support of the mandatory recycling programs, requirements of the state. I'll now turn it over to Joan Wong, who is Assistant Division Manager within the Franchise Division and in charge of the Facility Certification Program. Joan?
Thank you, Dan. Good morning, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, President James, and Mr. Jordan and Dr. Campbell. For the facility certification program in the Recycla program, in Recycla, the facilities and processes that we are proposing to certify includes disposal sites, transferring or at transfer stations, pre-processing and processing our MRFs, and end use, such as single-stream processors, metal processors, or hog farms that uses clean food waste. The benefit to certifications for facilities include abilities for them to receive and process solid resource materials from recycling program. Also, we believe that it provides an opportunity for facilities to partner with LA Sanitation to be a leader in protecting the environment and the communities that they're in. The requirements that we have put in the facility certification plan includes site inspections, regulatory compliance, health and safety requirements, operational control, facility enclosure, inspection of records, monthly reportings, and material tracking and waste characterizations. For site inspection will be conducted on a monthly basis by our staff. What we are looking for while we're doing these inspections include compliance of the recycling facility certification terms and conditions, which can include tonnage reporting, material process property on site. Also, we will be looking for proper and working operational controls, which includes, odor impact, excessive noise at the site. Worker safety, equipment, and safety work conditions include whether the facility provides PPEs for its workers, whether they have conducted safety trainings. Environmental issues and nuisance will include whether they have the proper or required permits from different agencies, proper drainage from industrial wastewater agencies, storm water regulatory agencies, proper management of hazardous waste, which includes hazardous waste labeling, storage, separation. Other potential hazards may include unsafe or exposed electrical wires on site, sharp or unsafe objects at working areas, and other potential fire hazards, stockpiling at these facilities. Regulatory compliance in the requirements of certification that we're looking for, again, is to see if the facilities is complying with all the applicable federal, state, and local laws, permits, to ensure that they are operating properly and safely at their site. These agencies could include CalRecycle, AQMD, water boards that in their jurisdiction. Also, we are also checking to see if they have maintained and meet the state minimum standard requirements by CalRecycle at their facilities. Maintenance of compliance record and other regulatory and permitting records, and it can be made available to us if we request it at the site. I want to reiterate that recycling facility certification program is not a regulatory program. It is a voluntary program for the facilities so that they can assist the RSPs that take materials to them to meet their contract terms with LA Sanitation. Health and safety that are top priorities for our program. We want to provide a voice for the workers and the communities that these facilities are. So to help us to do that, we believe that the facilities needs to maintain an injury and illness prevention plan, maintain safety and training programs, and also make it available for us when we're on site. perform annual health and safety audits by reputable firms, a third party, not themselves, and ensure employees have the proper PPEs to conduct their work. And also, the work area and the traffic control is safe at their site or near their sites. Even though these requirements are, 99% of the facilities have them already, but we feel that, we are the voice of the community and the workers, and we will, be a third pair of eyes looking at these things. Operational controls requirements are tools for sanitation to ensure and minimize health and safety hazards. Working operational controls includes odor, litter, dust, drainage, noise, burn vector, and traffic issues, all on site. And we believe we can be instrumental since we are there on a monthly basis. Facility enclosure. We feel that to achieve our goal and our mission to be the voice for the communities, facility enclosure is a very important part of our requirements. A lot of the environmental nuisance or noises that communities hear or suffer because of these facilities can be resolved by facility enclosure. Also, it will minimize litter, dust in the area, and also protects the materials, the commodities that these facilities are processing. We understand facility enclosure is a very contentious issue, and it requires a lot of capital improvement costs. So we propose certain facilities to be fully enclosed. We are proposing black bin material processors, which is your MRF, that should be enclosed. Transfer stations, because there is a lot of trash, dust that's happening in those activities. Facilities that we are not required to enclose in our program include landfills, composting facilities, and recycling centers for single streams. Again, the metal recyclers, the glass recyclers, that's what we are making reference to. Because we recognize the intensive capital involvement in enclosure, we have proposed a schedule for enclosure, a timeline for enclosure for these facilities. So for black bin transferring processing, we are allowing time for facilities to get financing, design, and permitting needs. So we are proposing giving them time from now to the year 2021. And then we are also giving them a few years for construction. So we are proposing full enclosure for dirty MRFing and transfer stations in December 31st, 2023. Also, that's our proposal for organics and green bin processing in the recycler program. For blue bin, which is the commingled recycling processing, we are proposing even longer timeline because we understand there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So we are giving facilities all the way up until December 2026. We feel that we understand the work that's required. We understand the capital intense investment involved. So we feel this is a very fair proposal for the communities, for the workers, and for the city as well. Inspection of records in our requirements. record keeping is a very important component for the facilities and for us as an oversight agency. So we believe facilities should keep good records for employee trainings and also their tonnage and material types that have processed at their facilities. Also special occurrences and check logs, hazardous material, waste, manufactured and disposable receipts, the MSDS records, underground storage tank and above ground tank record and emergency plans, facility emergency contingency plans, again, illness and injury prevention programs, and respiratory protection programs. Those record keeping, we think it's very important for the facility to keep and also to share with us when we request. The certification of the facilities. We require a submittal of an application from the facilities, and we will review the application. And in the application, your standard, who you are, where you're located, different permits you possess, and all that. So after a review, a facility will be certified to accept materials from the recycling program. Certification terms, we're asking for 5 years with an annual review and inspection at the site. And again, with their certification, we want monthly or as needed on-site inspection so that we can work closely with the facilities operators to resolve any issues that comes up. Our non-compliance or so-called enforcement process will include a notice to comply. This is the area where we identify issues during our site inspections. So we bring it up to the facility so they have a chance to correct and be made aware of the issues on their sites. Also, it will include if there's any company information or supporting documents that they have given it to us. What we're thinking here is, permits from other agencies, whether they're NAPs, they're not, they need a new one or an updated one that they haven't got. So if they, that's when we identify these issues. And also to help us track their material processing, their report to us, their tonnage report, their type of materials that have processed, where the material end up, that report. So if they fail to give it to us or took too long to give to us these documents, we will issue a notice to comply. And if they continue to ignore us at our, continued request, we will issue notice of a suspension. During a notice of a suspension, we are still working with the facility operators to cure a lot of these deficiencies. However, their certification is still valid, but they cannot accept any solid resources materials from the recycling program while they're in a notice of suspension. A notice of suspension will be lifted from a written document from us. So to them, informing them that they have cured all their deficiencies and they are no longer under a notice of suspension and they can continue to receive solid resource material from recycling program. And also the RSPs will be informed of their status. If a facility does not correct their issues, their deficiencies, we will be utilizing the notice of revocation. A revocation means that your certification, the facility's certification is no longer valid. They cannot accept solid resource material from the recycling program. And if they disagree with that, they can appeal to the Bureau of Public Works and to the Bureau of Sanitation. And we will go from there. And then they can also, once the revocation is done and they have cured all their deficiencies, they can come back and submit an application to us, and we'll start the whole certification application process again, and we will consider giving them certification again. That concludes what we have put in the certification plan. Right now, I'm going to introduce Greg Nestor, who is our lead supervisor for field inspection, to come and give you a summary or a status for where we are right now with the certification program.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me up here. I'm going to update you on the current status of what we've been doing so far. Currently, we have 40 facilities which are issued a provisional facility certification, and these are facilities that typically accept green, blue, and black bin material. Over 50 processes have been issued certifications by line and process type. Currently, as of 2017, our certification staff has completed a total of 126 inspections to date. During those inspections have resulted in improvements in a wide variety of areas. Across the entire facility inventory, we've identified ways in which to positively impact increased diversion, support franchise program contract compliance, minimize off-site facility impacts, reduce on-site safety concerns, and increase the environmental status of our facilities. We have absolutely no interest in overstepping any of our boundary of another agency's authority. We want to encourage compliance, and if there are areas that need more compliance, to refer them to the appropriate agency. As a program that identifies issues across a broad environmental and safety spectrum, we routinely look for and propose correction of off-site impacts, such as on-site generated odors, which may impact off-site air quality, off-site litter tracking, wastewater improperly discharged to stormwater systems, improper stormwater discharge impacting adjacent properties, or fire hazards including electrical and hazardous materials. So our goal is to work in partnership with our facilities for a win-win, effectively eliciting facility support in the direction the community wants us to go, and we would like to see the facilities operate. Before we typically even walk on site, we routinely assess the impact that a facility may pose to the community, in particular odor, noise, discharge, and if we identify such concerns, we address those at the time of our walkthrough. We quickly identify the source of those impacts and address them cooperatively with the facility. Additionally, we would perform on-site follow-up to ensure that we're both working in the same direction. We look at their preventative measures or institutional controls. That is the actual on-site technologies that they have in place to ensure minimizing impacts, ensure they're operating effectively and correctly, view their logs, and ensure effective maintenance over time, and ensure training of all personnel, particularly in operating areas, to ensure they're enacting and implementing the effective procedures to minimize or eliminate off-site community and on-site worker safety impacts. As far as safety, we routinely, as part of our program, we've routinely identified a variety of conclusions and aspects, improper hazardous material storage, improper container labeling, excess drum stacking, lack of required containment, exceeding storage time requirements, leaking containers, improper discharge of wastewater to stormwater drain, loose electrical wiring, sometimes in proximity to flammable materials, and we can increase the list. So in closing, there are a variety of, we're there to reduce off-site impacts in a cooperative manner with our facilities. We accomplish this by working with, not against our facilities, in terms of identifying, demonstrating to facility contacts particular issues and noting ways in which we would encourage compliance and motivating them to correct these areas, which may have negative neighbor impacts or on-site compliance impacts. So with the board's approval, this will put us in a give us greater latitude to further motivate our facilities to operate in a manner which reduces neighborhood impacts and encourages worker safety and environmental compliance. I will introduce Michelle, who would discuss a diversion portion of our program.
Good morning. My name is Michelle, and I'm the lead for the diversion team for Recicla. The diversion team is responsible for the certified facilities reporting and diversion tracking. So we receive all of the data, and we've put together programs in order for us to do that. The programs that we've developed are the Recicla Certified Facilities Monthly Tonnage Reporting and the waste composition protocols or guidelines that we ask the facilities to use. We also have been doing training of these guidelines. The facilities were invited to and given a training on the forms as well as other portions of the Certified Facilities Program on April 12th, 2018, and at that time we asked for input on these specific forms and guidelines. And the reporting forms that I'm about to show you are currently with the facilities for more input, and we should have feedback by this Friday. So what you're looking at now is the facility's inbound monthly reporting form. We're asking for all of the materials reported that are coming into the facility, regardless of where they're coming from. This allows us to understand what materials are being delivered to a facility and to calculate the facility's mass balance. It also serves as a cross-reference to verify accuracy for the Recicla service provider's monthly reporting. We're also asking the facilities to report on their outbound materials. This helps us to understand and track what is leaving the facility and where it's going. This was developed with future AB 901 state reporting in mind, and we have shared some of these forms with Cal Recycle in hopes that they might actually just adopt our forms. The waste characterization guidelines were developed to create consistency for how sampling and reporting is done by the Recicla service providers as well as the certified facilities. The waste characterizations will help LA San calculate the efficiency of each certified processing line. The efficiency rate will then be calculated with the RSP's diversion rate in order to get their landfill reduction totals and rates for the season. The waste characterizations are done in 2 seasons, 2 6-month seasons, January 1st through June 30th, and July 1st through December 31st. They have 5 months to do all of the sampling required for the facility. This includes incoming and residual sampling. The data is due back to LA San 2 weeks after the completion of all of their sampling. And we ask them to give us schedules of their sampling 60 days prior to the start of their sampling so that our staff, the certified facilities inspectors, as well as my staff, the diversion staff, have the opportunity to provide oversight for those waste characterizations. The certified facilities will be doing a number of samples based on their process line tons per day throughput. So there is, we have specified how many samples, the minimum number of samples they will have to do per season, in order to comply. This form is just to show you, give you an example of, we've created a huge database in which the facilities will be given to input all of the data that's coming from their waste characterization studies, which will then, and this tool helps us to understand how much of each type of material is in the waste stream. So it's per line, per material. So we'll be able to track each different type of material that's coming through a system and have an idea where it's going per material type. The next, this is all part of the same database, but we've created a calculator so that the input from this form turns into the calculations on the form that follows. So this actually will help us to just be able to know how much is coming in and out per season. And we've done it not only on the inbound, but there's similar forms for the residual. And that's what the next page is, or the next slide. So the residual is sampled in the same way. The input is sampled so that we can more accurately calculate each process line's efficiency rate. And then again, that efficiency rate is calculated against the recycler service provider's diversion rate to understand what their actual landfill reduction totals are. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Myers, and then we'll go to questions before we move to speakers. Go ahead.
So quickly, that does actually end our presentation. Of course, be around for questions. There was a typo on one of the pages of the Amendment 2 to the CEQA document. I have Louis Utsumi, who prepared the document, and just like to read the correction in. Does make a difference. It's a missing not. So actually makes a difference. So just if you would allow Louis to come up and read in the clarification.
Yes.
Thank you, Dan. President, Commissioners, I'd like to read an edit into the record. It's section 18B of the addendum on page 92, and the corrected sentence reads, the certified program EIR evaluated the program's potential to result in cumulative impacts across all the environmental resource areas, applied mitigation at the project level, and determined that the new facilities and expansion of existing facilities would not make cumulative considerable contributions to significant cumulative impacts to all resource areas, except for the following: air quality, historic resources, greenhouse gas emissions, and transportation and traffic. So again, the edit was the addition of the word not.
That can sometimes be an important edit.
That is an important edit.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, Dr. Campos, are we clear on the amendment and the edit?
I'm clear in terms of the amendment of adding the word not, but can you just reiterate where the not goes? Sure. On page 92. Got it. So existing facilities would not make. Yeah. Thank you.
So the record is square on that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Commissioner Cinto, did you want to ask questions now, or do you want to? Okay. Okay, then we don't. Then we'll go to questions. So going through the speaker cards that we have, Kevin Riley. Kevin Riley apparently is not able to make it, but we have a speaker card, so no Kevin Riley. Rosalina Ceballos. Ceballos.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us today. My name is Rosalina Ceballos with Pacoima Beautiful, and I speak for important powers and facilities certifications. We are very pleased and helpful to see our leadership in moving this item forward. With facilities in, on tremendos, I can see, I can speak in Spanish and she translated for me. Is better.
Yes, ma'am.
Buenos días. Les doy las gracias a todos por estar con nosotros, tenernos nosotros.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for having us today.
Y mi nombre es Rosalina Ceballos.
My name is Rosalina Ceballos.
Y aquí estoy para representar a Pacoima Beautiful.
I'm here to represent Pacoima Beautiful.
Y les doy las gracias por dejarnos hablar sobre los certificados del medio ambiente.
And I just want to thank you for letting us speak around facility certification.
Y para representar el altar de la persona que ha muerto por el aire, la contaminación.
I would like to present an altar that represents the lives of communities that have died because of the contamination, toxics, air pollution.
Y muchas veces causas se han muerto o han lastimado los trabajadores por el ambiente, por las cosas que están en el aire, en la comunidad.
So many,
2 minutes.
because of this also toxic air pollution, it also affects also workers inside this facility as well as our community.
Ajá. Esto afecta a Pacoima Beautiful y afecta a toda la comunidad en Los Ángeles. Y les doy las gracias por tener este tiempo conmigo.
And just wanted to summarize, this affects all of the residents in Pacoima, as well as all the communities in LA. So thank you for giving us this time and this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sergio Olivares. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. My name is Sergio Olivares. I am here today with Pacoima Beautiful, and I will like to thanks for the before for this leadership in the bringing in the in time format. Your action will make a tremendous impact for the dangers and the youth families for year after year. New we that way to the solution from this toxic white facility in the morning. Moving forward, we today is recommendation will intermediate shift forward for your city. These are my neighbors, and absolutely feeling making in the death of cancer. Amster here, there die many community across Los Angeles. We seen when so too much that from cancer and then in the others former side. Stick the resultation for poor environmental standards for reason they have it present this altar today with my own family and the friends, and as my personal experience, my wife's cancer. Mhm. We are
2 minutes.
to work you and they can today. Thank you for your time and for your visit in the morning this formal.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Shada Samnani. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Shada Simnani. I am a law student at Loyola Law School and a current legal extern at Earth Justice in Los Angeles. I am here today to voice Earth Justice's support for the proposed facility certification approach. Earth Justice urges a vote in favor of the proposed program in order to protect workers and communities that are at front lines in and around these facilities. We need facility certification to ensure compliance with the promised environmental protections and safe working conditions for facility employees. These are promises that some facilities have broken. We cannot continue our efforts toward a zero waste LA and cleaner city without accountability. We also need facility certification in order to ensure the communities around these facilities reap the benefits promised. We must ensure these facilities uphold strong environmental standards. Please help Los Angeles move towards a healthier and cleaner future and vote in favor of the facility certification program. Thank you again for your continued leadership in moving this item forward. Moving forward this today means fewer families will have to worry about premature deaths due to preventable causes, as so many others have. This flower is honoring those families.
Thank you. Andres Martinez.
Buenos días a todos.
Good morning.
Mi nombre es Andrés Martínez.
My name is Andres Martinez.
Hasta hace poco yo era trabajador en Athens Service.
Until recently, I was a sanitation driver at Athens Services.
El día de hoy estoy aquí para hablar a favor de la certificación de las instalaciones de reciclaje, lo cual es parte del programa de reciclaje LA.
So I'm here today to speak on behalf and support of the facility certification as part of the Recicla program.
La certificación de estas instalaciones es importante porque asegura que los contratistas de la ciudad que procesan la basura de Los Ángeles están cumpliendo con todos los aspectos de la ley.
This aspect of the program is important because it ensures that any city contractor that is hauling waste for the city of Los Angeles is abiding by all aspects of the law.
Una de las mejores maneras de asegurar que las compañías cumplan con la ley es cuando los trabajadores tienen un contrato de unión.
One of the best ways to ensure that companies are abiding by all aspects of the law is for workers to have a union contract.
Como trabajadores de la industria de la basura, todo lo que queremos es trabajar de una manera segura y poder dar mejor vida a nuestra familia.
As sanitation workers, all we want to do is to work safely in order to provide a living for our families.
La industria de la basura es el quinto trabajo más peligroso en el país y desafortunadamente las compañías en esta industria corrompen la ley.
Sanitation is the fifth most dangerous job in the country, and unfortunately, companies in this industry often break the law.
Quiero reportar una situación seria que está pasando en Athens Service. En vez de seguir la ley de franquicia de la ciudad y mantener la paz, Athens ha creado una disputa laboral grave.
I am here to also report about a serious situation that's happening at Athens Services. Instead of obeying the aspects of the law and keeping the peace, they have created a serious labor dispute.
Athens ha buscado intimidar a sus trabajadores en su derecho de organizar una unión y mejorar sus condiciones de trabajo.
Athens has sought to intimidate workers from exercising the rights to organize a union and improve their working conditions.
Estoy cansado de ver cómo tratan mal a mis compañeros y los intimidan al perder su trabajo.
I am sick and tired of seeing my coworkers being mistreated and being intimidated with losing their jobs.
Quiero asegurarme que mis compañeros tengan un contrato fuerte que les dé condiciones de trabajo seguras y una voz en el trabajo.
I want to make sure that my fellow coworkers have a strong contract that ensures that their rights are respected and that they have respect and dignity on the job.
Como líderes de esta ciudad, es importante que ustedes aseguren que compañías que tienen contrato con la ciudad cumplan con la ley.
As city leaders, it is your responsibility to ensure that city contractors who contract with the city for waste hauling obey all aspects of the law.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Maria Saavedra.
then I'll be translating.
Yes, ma'am.
Buenos días, mi nombre es María Saavedra y estoy aquí para agradecerles por el apoyo que nos han dado.
Good morning. My name is Maria Saavedra, and I'm here to thank you for the support that you have given us.
Yo soy de Pacoima Beautiful y les damos las gracias en nombre de todos mis compañeros aquí presentes que han luchado para apoyar esta causa.
I'm from Pacoima Beautiful, and I am here also speaking on behalf of all my the residents in Pacoima who are here today, who are supporting this cause.
Ahora estoy aquí no por el cáncer que yo tuve, ni por el cáncer de mi hijo, ni por el asma de mi nieto. Estoy aquí para hacer conciencia de todas las personas que han muerto por el cáncer.
I am here today not to talk about the cancer that I experienced, the cancer that my son experienced when he was a kid, or my grandson experiencing asthma currently, but to remind you of the people that have died in our communities from cancer.
Y para apoyar a todos los trabajadores que tengan mejores luchas, mejores medios para que ellos puedan trabajar a gusto, ya que ellos se han muerto personas y se han infectado muchas personas por la basura.
I am also here to speak for the workers who have also passed away, working in an industry where they also taking a lot of the toxics that are coming that are in these facilities because of how they currently are.
Este año he conocido, en este año nada más 4 personas que han muerto de cáncer. Una se llama Esther Osorio, Estela Flores, Vicenta Flores y Leti.
I would like to, I am here because in this past year there have been 4 people that have passed away from cancer. And their names are?
Es muy difícil ver tanta persona enferma por tanta contaminación que hay. Por eso es que estamos aquí y seguimos luchando y gracias por su apoyo de ustedes.
The health conditions continue to affect the community, and this is why we're here today, to ask you to move this forward, and thank you again for your support.
Hicimos ese altar en nombre de todas las personas que han fallecido. Y gracias por su apoyo y que Dios los bendiga y les siga dando sabiduría para seguirnos apoyando. Muchas gracias.
We present to you this altar that we did for that represents the lives that have been lost in our communities. And I pray for each of you, and I pray that God continues to give you the strength that you need. And thank you again for supporting us.
En nombre de todos mis compañeros de Pacoima Beautiful, les damos las gracias, ya que hemos luchado por muchas causas en nuestro California. Gracias por todo.
In the name of Pacoima Beautiful, we thank you. That we have been on the struggle for a long time, but thank you again for your support.
Bendiciones.
Thank you. Next we have Nawad Trifunovic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've been asked to speak by Sun Valley Paper Stock Incorporated. Sun Valley is a subcontractor on the Recicla program. The company is family owned and operated and has been since inception. It was founded in Sun Valley, and for decades it has served the city of Los Angeles and provided recycling. The concern with the current proposed facility certification program plan is the addition of clean material recovery facilities under the enclosure requirements. And the reason why this is a problem is the RFP was issued in 2014. Contracts were awarded in 2017. And in 2018, April 2018, earlier this year, staff held a meeting with stakeholders and facility operators to try to work out certain concerns that were expressed after the March agenda item before this board. including the facility enclosure requirement to clean material recovery facilities at this late stage has a significant material financial impact on subcontractors, even prime contractors under the Recicla program. In our case, it could mean an additional $4 or $5 million of money that has to be spent at a relatively small facility, and somehow that has to be amortized over the term of the contract. Now, had we known that at the outset, our bid to the prime contractor might have looked a lot different, and its bid to the City of Los Angeles, in turn, might have looked different. So here it seems as though the contractors and subcontractors are being asked to absorb certain costs that are just now being introduced.
2 minutes.
Go ahead and continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. So there's a real legal question here about whether the law even supports such material changes after contracts have already been awarded, negotiated, and signed. I don't know whether that's going to open up some of these contracts to renegotiation. I'm not suggesting it. I'm wondering intellectually whether that's going to be an issue for the city. And here, if subcontractors and prime contractors are allowed to adjust prices to take into consideration these new requirements, and it's not so much the requirement that we're objecting to, it's the timing of it. It's this process where it's coming up in 2018 where now there's potentially millions of dollars of additional spend that nobody anticipated. People understood that transfer stations would need to be enclosed. Those are the dirtiest of the operations. They knew that. They didn't know that clean MRFs would need to be enclosed. And in March, we posed the question, what happens at a property like Sun Valley Paper Stock where they operate two different types of facilities, both a clean MRF and a transfer station? And if I'm reading the current draft, the current proposal correctly, it suggests that both the clean MRF and the transfer station would need to be enclosed. That's a significant change. And if my memory serves me, it's the first time that issue is being raised. It's the first time that cost is being introduced into this process. So it just doesn't seem equitable that it comes up at this late stage. It's not so much the aims or the policy objectives. We understand those. It's how this has unfolded and how the contractors have not been afforded an opportunity to factor those costs into their proposals to the city, which would then impact ratepayers. It's naturally going to go up. The more demands that are being placed on contractors and subcontractors, somebody has to pay for that. And it's not reasonable to ask the contractors and the subs to absorb those costs alone. So as drafted, we would be opposed because of that requirement.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the time.
We also have Don or Ron Rogers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just want to introduce myself. I'm Don Rogers, and I'm one of the owners of Sun Valley Paper Stock. So you can see me in the flesh and blood and know that I'm one of the ones that's concerned about something that's been put in action after bids have already been placed. And we've had many meetings as owners to decide how that affects us, what the future is, and what we're doing. So that is just want to explain to you that that is one of our concerns, that the requirements were put in after bids were sent out by us, and it can have a huge financial impact on us and not explained. We're not sure what those costs, they may be anywhere from $4 to $8 million. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next I have Doug Corcoran. It's our final speaker. Good morning, Mr. Corcoran.
Good morning. Thank you. Doug Corcoran, Waste Management. We are also opposed to the program in its current state, and just want to go through a few reasons. Let me start by saying, look, we are all about not being a nuisance to the community and not impacting them negatively, all about worker safety, all about compliance. So none of my comments should be considered to have any conflict at all with that. I mean, we are 100% committed to all of those elements of running a facility. We feel like this is not really about confirming compliance, but it's about creating an entire new layer of redundant bureaucracy over these facilities. We sent you a letter on April 19th with a lot of our concerns. Never heard back. Didn't get any response, not even acknowledgement. I don't even think it's in your package today. So we're wondering, we're probably the largest developer of this type of infrastructure in the state of California, and why you wouldn't take advantage of the resource that we could provide, we don't understand that. We do not agree that the potential CEQA impacts have been adequately addressed in the current plan as it stands. And we think that what's happening is you're using a programmatic approach to create a one-size-fits-all package that really doesn't make sense in lots of places. When you talk about a community like Sun Valley and Pacoima, I mean, those communities have been, I mean, honestly, I've been working there for 25 years, and they've gone through really rough times in the past with not enough oversight, not enough care, and so I don't have an objection to that. But when you get outside of that, not everywhere that these facilities are located are environmental justice zones. Not everywhere is surrounded by actual residential communities. Some of them, you got like miles between there, but you're taking this rather large...
2 minutes.
Go ahead. Okay. This large set of requirements, and you're laying it on top of facilities where it makes absolutely no sense. We think the permitting timelines that you've identified are unrealistic, not nearly enough time, because if people have to make any changes, they're going to have to open up their land use entitlements. That takes a long time. I've been doing that for 30 years, and I'm telling you, a few years ain't going to cut it. Reporting, I think, is duplicative and unnecessary, given the extensive amount of reporting and information that is already available, that all of these facilities have to supply to the agencies that have the legal responsibility for oversight. So we think you're laying on a whole collection of reports that isn't going to make things better. It's just going to make more work and cost more money. Let's see here. We think operationally, some of the things are just untenable. I'll give you one example. The doors cannot be open more than 30 minutes in an 8-hour day. That's just not possible. If you get a couple hundred loads a day, you're done. And then I guess I could stop right there.
You can have 60 more seconds if you need one more minute. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, almost.
As long as you're not repeating yourself, but finish up.
We think that overkill on the safety requirements with having to do the, I forget the exact program through OSHA. I mean, I've got facilities that have 10, 12 years with no accidents. This new program, which is extremely expensive to implement and not even possible in some facilities based on the nature of the facility, it's not going to make things better than no accidents in 12 years. And I would caution against representing that you're going to be the voice of the community and the workers. I mean, all of our guys are and women are already under collective bargaining agreements, and they think they are represented, and I think they are too. And I can tell you, when you go out to cities in Palmdale or other counties to tell them that LA is coming to be the voice of your community, I think that's just asking for a fight with them. So I would ask that you tone that down a little bit, because I have to live with that. So anyway, those are my comments, and I have an updated letter that I'd like to hand. We emailed it to all of you folks, and I'll hand it over here too, and then with that, I'll sit down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks for the
Corcoran.
extra time too.
Commissioner Penning?
Sure. Just to get the discussion started, primero quiero agradecer a los miembros de la comunidad que estén aquí con nosotros hoy. Estamos, bueno, yo estoy muy agradecida por su lucha para mejores condiciones para sus familias y sus vecindarios, y es con mucho gusto que nos vemos hoy día. I just wanted to thank the community members who came out today and who have been fighting for better conditions for families and neighborhoods. up in the Northeast Valley. You know, I think what we wanted to do today, and certainly what I've been asking for from sanitation, was to get some movement, forward movement on this program. This is something that we committed to our residents and our customers of the Recicla program, that was going to be part of this program. And I think, you know, we're now over a year, depending on your address, over a year into Recicla, and it's important for me that people know that this is happening and we're moving it forward. What we want are the strongest possible safety conditions for the nearby communities, for workers, and we want thorough reporting. We want to be able to know and track how waste is moving through our system, how much recycling we're doing, because we've made some, you know, really big commitments through the program. Also because mandates are changing at the state, and, you know, whereas this industry has not always had a lot of oversight, all of that is changing, and it should change, in my opinion, given climate change. So I think this is really moving forward. I know that there's additional work that will be happening. I know the council offices, Councilmember Martinez's office is very interested in and being part of the conversation. I know there's still more discussion to be had between sanitation and the RSPs, but at the same time, I mean, this is something that we've been talking about for years. And so it was important for us today not to continue the item just because there's still additional conversations that need to happen. On the Clean MRF requirements, I mean, we're certainly, you know, I think we're aware of the realities of the changing recycling marketplace. At the same time, I don't think we wanted to leave any facilities out of the certification program. So that's a piece that I know there's additional discussion to happen and what the timing looks like. But it's important for us to have on paper that that's part of it and that there's a plan. And I think what the timeline is and what that looks like is still something that, you know, certainly I'm open for how that unfolds. But at the same time, we need to get it as part of the plan, and we need to start moving forward. So I know there's some more additional questions that we'll have here from sanitation, but I just wanted to open the discussion, and I'll chime back in later. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. Mr. Myers, real quick question. Regarding, the facility certification program was originally agendized, I think it was in March of 2018. Is that right? It's about?
Yes.
Okay. And we have had a number of continuances since March of 2018. Commissioner Penning referenced communications between sanitation and the RSPs, the service providers. Could you, I realize I'm asking this off the top of your head in essence, but could you summarize kind of the discussions that have taken place since the agendizing of March 2018 up until now?
Well, certainly. Obviously, from that meeting and the comments received from that, there was quite a bit of forward movement that we had to take, starting with the CEQA documentation. Although we had a very strong environmental actually an EIR that was prepared, it was felt that given some of the concerns raised by actually was our service providers, that it was best to go back and evaluate to ensure that we have a strong starting point from a CEQA standpoint. We did receive a number of letters detailing the concerns of how the program was originally written. We actually held a couple of one-on-one discussions with the concerned parties and held a stakeholders meeting that was attended by both our service providers and by facility operators. And again, we did take, we did actually review all of the comments that they submitted as we reviewed the document. One of the comments, for example, was the fact that it was raised, there was a concern that we originally stated that the certification program, or the certification would be for 1 year. And it was relayed to us that that's really too short for them to be able to actually, realize and actually bring to their bank some of the investments or infrastructure needs that would need to take place. As the plan was revised, it was revised up to a 5-year certification cycle. So that's just, some of the back and forth that we did communicate with the stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Davis.
Okay, Ted, I have some questions for you, but first I want to thank the community for coming, and I've over months heard you come before us and testify about some of the adverse impacts in terms of our current operations that we have with these particular facilities, and more specifically, I've heard you when you have shared with us some of the health disparities that have taken place as a result of what you have described as some of the operations that have occurred in terms of what's going on in your community, and I certainly know and agree when you tell us that we have the responsibility to make sure that we are having rules and regulations that effectively and efficiently manage these operations. It is our responsibility, and in particular, it is those of us who've been appointed to the Board of Public Works' responsibility to make sure that this occurs. With that, Ted, we've taken a lot of time in terms of coming to the point of having a motion, but more importantly, a plan that would be able to address this very difficult and complex problem that is significant. And I have to say, in terms of having listened to the presentation of you and your staff today, for me, it appears to be very comprehensive in terms of how we ought to be looking at the operation of these facilities and what we need to be doing in terms of being diligent in measuring their effectiveness and their efficiency. And so I welcome what you have done. It has been well thought out. It has been extremely comprehensive. And again, I think it is necessary. So I look forward to supporting this initiative because of that. Having said that, as I've listened today, I did hear operators, contractors, come up and talk about their concerns and subcontractors and the issues that they have concerned about absorbing costs of incurred operations. And certainly we have to have ongoing conversations to address that. And we can't address all of it right here, but just for the purpose of discussion very briefly, as we move forward in trying to address those realities of financial responsibility, what do we think that might potentially look like in terms of the costs that will be necessary for implementation of this? The revenues that they make probably should be enough for them to certainly partake to some degree. What is your response as a leader on this task about the concerns that have been raised today?
Well, very difficult to respond on any global solution from a financial standpoint. Sure. The programs, as it's laid out, definitely affects what each facility has to do quite differently. Sure. Because each facility is quite different in its operations. So there's some facilities that may have to start from scratch as far as, if it looks from an enclosure standpoint. There are some facilities that already meet the standards, right, as laid out right now.
That's good.
And there are facilities that are already in the construction phases. Mm-hmm. So it's difficult to identify where that impact would be, because it is quite different for each facility. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to also take in consideration some of the longer timelines. to allow those discussions to continue to happen, allow us to understand the impacts that a facility might realize better. But I can't answer the question as far as how
and
that
that's
would work.
fine, and I'm glad in your response to know that there are some contractors who are already successful in the operation and what they're doing as it relates to this. And I want to say what makes this complex is that our top priority is the health and safety of our citizens. And yet we do realize somebody within the city's operation has to do this task. The city needs someone to be able to manage efficiently and effectively solid waste, wastewater, and all those other things that sanitation has to deal with. Someone has to do that job. And at the same time, as I said earlier, not at the expense of the taxpayers and citizens who make up the city of Los Angeles. And so you are held specifically with the responsibility and sanitation of helping to deliver on our health and safety. And so that is why I support this proposal. It has been very comprehensive, it's been very detailed, and it has dealt with some of the things that I have heard over the months from the very citizens who are here today in terms of their concerns about odor, as their concerns about dust, as their concerns about noise, and all of those items have been, I believe, reasonably presented today by your team. I know a plan is one thing, and I know implementation of that plan is another thing. So I support the plan that you presented today, and I'm quite actually pleased with it because it's comprehensive. That's what I expect.
Thank you.
And I do believe that people who do business with us make millions of dollars, and that they should be able to, through some future discussion with us, be able to accommodate and join us in what our mission is, which is not only to do the operation of effectively and efficiently handling the task, but also to respect and to help us to make sure that we are delivering on the health and safety of our citizens. So again, those are my comments, and that is the reason why I support this, and I thank you and your staff for being thorough in your approach. As painful as it might be to our contractors, we will work with them to the degree that they can continue to do business with us, they can continue to do successful, but we won't do that at the expense of the health and safety of our citizens.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James, and to everybody present and participating in the process. Thank you a la comunidad también. I send you my thanks and for tus deseos, for those que han pasado, ¿verdad? And to Danny, you and your staff, and to the Bureau for moving this really, really important project forward because of Recicla and its game-changing impact on our city. So I'm going to go to the idea really quick to the idea of compliance, and I'm struggling a little bit with the idea that it's a voluntary program, and yet we have the ability to suspend and revoke permit. So I need to understand a little bit more of the timeline and at the level that our Bureau of Sanitation is able to suspend a facility for non-compliance, because there's a three-step process. There's a notice, there's a notice of suspension, and then a notice of revocation. I also want to understand where our Board of Public Works and or the other external regulating agency work together to actually revoke a permit. So Dan, if you could, or if any of the staff kind of go over that really quickly in terms of at what level does the Bureau and staff really suspend operations, because then that means they're not able to do their job that we asked them to do, and that's not the intent. But compliance in a voluntary program kind of, for me, don't jive 100%.
So it's so address the issue with a voluntary. It's a voluntary program in that the city is not mandating at all facilities comply with this program. Facilities that choose to participate in the Recicla program and receive Recicla material would then choose to participate in the program to be able to receive that material. Easiest way to describe it is a facility outside of the city's jurisdiction that we have no authority over, that doesn't take recycled material can continue to operate as they operate. Once they choose to take recycled material, then they're volunteering themselves to participate in the program to receive that material.
Correct. So then it becomes mandatory for them, the compliance process. They're opting in.
The compliance part becomes mandatory.
Right.
The whether or not they want to participate is voluntary on their behalf.
Correct. So eyes wide open for the providers and all the facilities. They understand, and we've been getting to this point of the costs involved, and there have been allegations that we have put these requirements after the fact, and those are very serious things. And Dan, what I hear you saying is that we have done our due diligence to say this is a program the facilities need to voluntarily come in and make bids, eyes wide open in terms of the monetary implications, that we haven't held anything back. So let me go to the idea of timeline. How fast are we able to quickly to give notices of compliance and suspension in terms of months? Dan, really quick, if there's a facility that's not complying and it's harming the community and or its workers, how fast can we work to get them into compliance?
Well, what's going to happen is it's going to take us at least a couple of months to actually get them through the application process. So there's an application process for us to review all their documentations and actually issue a final certification. But once that happens, then we can start in the process that's delineated in the CERT plan. But what's important is right now, all the facilities that are being utilized by our service providers have actually been given a provisional certification and have allowed us to come to their facilities and work with them. So, which has already yielded a lot of positive outcomes. We visited a facility and walked by going, there's no fire extinguisher in this enclosure. They go, sorry about that. It was being charged. By the time we left the facility, there was a fire extinguisher there. So us out on the sites right now, under just the provisional piece, again, them willingly participating in the program, we have seen positive outcomes. Once we issue them the actual final certification issuance, we'll start, any formal notices to comply. Our goal is not to issue suspensions or issue revocations. It's to work with the facilities long before that ever happens to get them to the standards that we feel they need to be. So there'll be a lot of dialogue, notices to go out. It won't be, well, you're missing a fire extinguisher, you notice a compliance, and we're going to suspend your permit. Your certification. However, if they lose their state permit that allows them to operate, we would then proceed probably more immediately with a suspension or revocation. So again, there's quite a bit of different levels before we would ever get to the actual suspension.
So there are levels, but you are the staff of our Bureau of Sanitation. You're going to drive that process, and we're not going to let these issues sort of fester and community impact and these things. So, and I just want to confirm that is the notice of revocation at the Board of Public Works level.
The appeal process is to the Board of Public Works.
But the staff has the ability to revoke.
Staff has the ability to revoke, and then the appeal of that comes to the board. That's actually set in ordinance.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, hi. I want to say, first of all, thank you to everybody who's here from the community, especially for those that came from the Northeast Valley. Muchas gracias de estar aquí, señores y señoras. Les agradezco la manejada temprana con todo el tráfico. Yo sé que es difícil, así que gracias por estar aquí y apoyar a la comunidad. I do have a couple of
Real
questions.
quick, Commissioner Garcia, would you just share with the record what?
I just said thank you everybody for being here, and I know the drive is heavy, and I just thank them for the support that they provide here every morning when they're here. I do have a couple of questions. One is piggybacking on Commissioner Jacinto's question, and the Bureau of Sanitation is going to be the body that oversees the certification process and provide the certificate to these sites.
Correct.
And have we thought about, and maybe you haven't, I just don't know, having some kind of a civilian oversight or an advisory group to this? I just want to make sure that we are being fair or just very transparent with how we're going to do the certification, because what I want to also talk about is the process of sanctioning folks or taking, their certification away. If we take the certification away, the city of LA, would that also impede them from doing the state work?
No, it only stops them from being able to take recycled material.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I guess I'll just get it. I know that this is a program that's being implemented now, and as implementation comes, it goes through many kinks until we'll finally get it right and everybody will be okay with this. So I understand we'll have more conversations along the way through this, especially the certification process. My next question is, has the Bureau of Sanitation assigned, and I understand that Pacoima is not the only community that's going through this, there's many communities, but has the Bureau of Sanitation assigned a community rep that can be the liaison back and forth and not necessarily somebody on the certification process?
The answer is no. We have not assigned a community rep. Myself and other staff have met with some of the community members from the more affected areas, and we'll be happy to continue to do so in terms of continued outreach. They're a very important voice of what the concerns and the way facilities are being operated, and what we'll look for and what we'll look at when we go out and visit these facilities.
I just want to make sure that the community has a point of contact and not necessarily high-level folks, because I know that sometimes that it takes them a while to get back to the community. So my suggestion would probably be just to maybe assign somebody that can be specifically answering these questions to the community and to the public at large in multiple languages, because this is a community issue. It's a recommendation I have.
It's a good idea. Absolutely.
And then my last concern is I want to address the issue that our Sun Valley paper stock owner came up to discuss about us adding additional cost after the contracts have been awarded. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, certainly. As we move through the program and as it was originally written, we not only we gathered input from our facilities, but also the input from the communities. And it wasn't just the facilities that handled solid waste, trash, but it was also facilities that handled the recyclables that continued to be a concern to the community. And we felt it truly necessary to bring them into the fold, to bring them into discussion, to bring them in as part of the program that would begin to mitigate some of those concerns. Also, from talking with our service providers, it was explained to us that the material that they're collecting in the blue bins has a very high level of contamination. So the facilities that are taking this material aren't necessarily just taking a clean load of paper and plastic. A lot of contamination along with that. So those are some of the things that played into the decisions to bring in the recycling facilities, the material recovery facilities into the fold as far as enclosure goes.
Those were my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any further questions? Commissioner Penning?
Dan, I'm wondering if you could address, I don't know if you've seen today's letter from Waste Management, but there was a previous letter that Mr. Corcoran mentioned having submitted in April, so that's attached. And I know that you guys did look at it and have taken steps to address the concerns raised, which primarily relate to CEQA. Can you talk or I don't know if Adina might be.
Just walked out.
Oh, okay. Bye, Adina.
I mean, we do have our other CEQA attorneys present. that would be able to answer the questions
Okay.
in terms of CEQA.
Yep, and I know we have Ted here as well.
Mr. Shu.
Afternoon. Good afternoon. Sigmund Shu, Deputy City Attorney.
Hi, Sigmund.
Hello. Yes. Do you have a specific question or?
I wondered if you could talk generally about what we've been working on internally in response to the April waste management letter.
Okay. I think as previously explained, once in receipt of the letter, sanitation did direct staff and consultants to work up clarification in what's called the second addendum, and it looked at the CEQA impacts that could possibly result from the facility certification program. And as you can see from your packet, it's a pretty comprehensive addendum. I think it kind of speaks for itself, but I think if you want to summarize it, what it shows is that the impacts that result from this program were mostly analyzed in the previous environmental impact report, which was not challenged. And then to the extent that there may be some other impacts that they are less than significant, and so the addendum's appropriate. The findings for the addendum are listed in the addendum and in the agenda regarding adoption of the necessary findings and adoption of the previous CEQA findings and the mitigation program along with the statement of overriding considerations.
We did an EIR on the program. Correct.
Of the entire program, that is correct, yes.
Yes, so we did an EIR, and so if we actually strengthen the facilities program, I think it would be hard to argue that that would require additional environmental review, because we're actually having creating even less, creating even stronger mitigations against environmental impacts of the program, of moving waste around through the program.
Well, I think that's what the addendum found. If you had some specific questions about the technical analysis of the addendum, Louis, the consultants here, can answer those questions.
Yeah,
but
no,
I think
I
that's the 500-foot look at it. I think that would be what you're seeing that in the addendum.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into detail. I just wanted to, because there was something said about that a letter had come in and there had been no response, and the response is actually incorporated into the documentation that's part of the packet here today.
Yes, that's correct.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. Mr. Myers, anything else?
No, I look forward to your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion on agenda items number one has been withdrawn. Number two encompasses number one. Just to repeat the procedural issue we dealt with, we had an amendment that was an edit, so it would be, Dr. Campos, does this one need to be as amended, or is that just in the body of a document that does not require an amendment?
To be on the safe side, let's go ahead and recommend that the board consider this to adopt the report as amended, to make the amendments on transmittal number 3, and then if the board wishes to consider the recommendations by the commissioners today, you could make that into the record as well. But for right now, I have one amendment, and that is to add the word "not" on page 92 to transmittal 3.
Right, that would be the formal amendment. Regarding your suggestion, Commissioner Garcia, that's something that can be kind of done directly with the Bureau. Okay. So is there a motion as amended? Commissioner Repenning, seconded by Commissioners Jacinto and Davis and Garcia. So without objection, that'll be the order on agenda item number 2. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the Bureau of Sanitation. Thank you, everyone, for coming today.
Thank you as well from me to sanitation, everyone who worked on this. Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, Council Districts 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 13, Contract Acceptance Sidewalk Repair Program, Package number 33. Recommending that the board accept the construction order. Mr. McReynolds.
Good Good morning, President James and Commissioners. Brett McReynolds, Bureau of Contract Administration. I'm here for the Sidewalk Repair Program Bid Package 33. On February 1st, 2017, this contract was awarded on a competitive basis to PPC Construction using the emergency geotechnical on-call list. The project was awarded with a contingency for $1,748,139.60. That's the authorized budget. The contract was for the repair of sidewalks around city facilities in the council districts mentioned previously. Work included curb ramps, tree work, canopies, etc. 11 change orders were issued, bringing the total cost of the project to $1,643,695.12, which was 5.97% below the authorized budget. Change orders added 27 city facilities. Contract was issued using emergency on-call list, thus no specific MBE WB levels were required. However, the contractor did meet all EEO and labor compliance requirements. Work was completed on January 19th, 2018, and there are no unresolved property disputes.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. McReynolds? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3. Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 4. Contract acceptance, sidewalk repair program package number 35. Council districts 248, 10, 11, 13. Mr. McReynolds requesting that the board accept the construction order. Go ahead.
Hello, this is another sidewalk package, as mentioned, sidewalk package 33. On June 2nd, 2017, the contract was awarded on a competitive basis to Mike Perlich and Sons, using again the emergency on-call list for the geotechnical list of contractors. Yep. The project was awarded with a contingency for a total amount of $1,782,471.25. Contract again repaired sidewalks around city facilities. Work included curb ramps, tree work, canopy pruning, utility relocations, etc. 7 change orders were issued, bringing the total cost of the project to $1,554,813.56, which is 12.77% below the authorized budget. The contract was issued, as mentioned, with the emergency on-call list, thus no specific EEO or rather MBEWB levels were established. However, the contractor complied with all EEO requirements. Work was completed January 5th, 2018. There are no undisputed or unresolved issues or disputed funds.
Colleagues, any questions? Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you, I do. Brett, what was the average award of the contract per the contractors over the course? I know there were different contractors, correct, in that, or is there one?
What was the question?
On the package 33, were there multiple contractors?
No, one contract for each package. So this on package 33, we're dealing with 34 right now.
Oh, sorry.
Right? 35, I'm sorry. Yeah, 35.
36.
So that was Mike Perlich. Mike Perlich and Son was the contractor for that, Commissioner.
Okay.
And these are the larger contracts as opposed to the small contracts.
Understood.
And they average right around, depends on the amount of sites, but usually under $2 million.
2 million. Okay, thank you, Brett.
You're welcome.
Is that a motion? All right, I'll go ahead and second. We'll adopt the report. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, that'll be sent forthwith. Thank you, Mr. McReynolds. Agenda item number 5 in Council District 8, Project Labor Agreement, 74th Street Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 1, recommending the board add the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement to this project. From Contract Administration, Ian Monte.
Good morning. The Bureau of Contract Administration, along with the Bureau of Engineering, jointly request that the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement be added to the 74th Street Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 1 project. This project is located between the intersections of West 62nd Street and Western Avenue in South Los Angeles, and that the sewer, I know this area because I live over there, the sewer will actually travel west on 62nd Street, and when it gets to Van Ness, it will then make a right turn and travel north to Slauson Avenue, where it will intersect with the central and north outflow sewer systems, respectively. This project, again, is located in South Los Angeles, zip code 90047, within Council District number 8, and the city engineer estimates this project to cost $8.7 million. The rehabilitation of the 74th Street sewer will be accomplished by cured in-place pipe inserting a lighter into the existing sewer. The lining operation requires the removal and replacement of all maintenance holes and the addition of 2 new maintenance holes along with the existing 74th Street alignment to facilitate sewer cleaning and liner installation. So the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement, or PLA as we affectionately know it, and the Public Infrastructure Stabilization Policy, or policy as we affectionately know that document, they obviously provide numerous benefits to the city for these type of projects. The first is that quality work is done on time, within budget, and it's done properly. Secondly, that same work is done safely by providing access to skilled workers with a commitment of training. And finally, that the PLA facilitates an orderly settlement of labor disputes and grievances without strikes, work stoppages, or lockouts. However, more importantly, and one of the reasons that the Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering really stress the project labor agreement is because, again, of the maximum economic benefit that is achieved for Los Angeles residents and the communities. The average jobs that these project labor agreement projects have had, as we've looked at, is 13 jobs per $1 million. On a side note, Commissioner Jacinto last Monday asked us to just take a look to see if our analysis was contemporary, and we found that the last analysis with the jobs per $1 million was actually done 4 months ago. So it is, in fact, still contemporary, and we're going to probably take a look at that in the next couple of months just to see if it remains to be contemporary. But for now, we're very satisfied that it still is 13 jobs per $1 million. So moving back on task here, the 74th Street Sewer Rehabilitation Project could potentially generate up to 113 jobs and continued career opportunities for local residents. As the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement has targeting high requirements within them, such as the 30% of all project hours to be completed by a local resident, the 50% of all apprentice work to be completed by a local apprentice in terms of project hours, and finally 10% of project hours to be completed by what we identify as transitional workers. This project absolutely would go a very long way with including opportunities for local residents, local apprentices, and transitional workers. Just to give some metrics, as of today, our project labor agreement has currently resulted in 38% local hire, 61% local apprentices, and 20% transitional workers on the 30, 50, and 10 goals respectively that I spoke of. So again, adding this project labor agreement to this project would have maximum effect, and that is the recommendation bringing forth to you today.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Monte? No question. Commissioner Davis.
Yes. Mr. Martin, I'm glad to see that we have project labor agreements, and certainly it allows us to have some input of labor on the job, and then local as well. So we can count on these jobs being diverse as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think that is good. When we look at the high unemployment rate in South Los Angeles, I'm particularly pleased to see that we're able to implement a project labor agreement in South LA, given our economic prowess as a city and how we can use that status to help resolve some of the unemployment problems in that area. So thank you for this work.
Absolutely. If I could just speak to that a little bit. One of the things that we're able to do with the newfound technology that the Bureau of Contract Administration has implemented as it relates to tracking project labor agreement covered projects, as well as starting to be able to track non-project labor agreement covered projects. I was able to look at what has specifically happened within this zip code in terms of the achievements that our current and past PLA has been able to do as it relates to wage reinvestment. So in zip code 90047, since the inception of the first project labor agreement through this morning, you have a total of 74 workers that have worked 26,235 hours, which averages out to 354.5 hours apiece, totaling the economic and wage reinvestment into that zip code at $646,704. And so again, that's, the achievement of this project labor agreement, and we're really hoping that we'll be able to add to that on this project as well as others that are coming.
So that area is 47, is it?
90047.
Not 9008.
I'm not exactly sure where the zip codes start and end in terms of that, but I know for a fact that it's in 90047.
Okay, wonderful. I think as long as we have some diversity in that area, that we really make a big impact. So, thank you so much again.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Is there a motion on number 5 by Commissioners Garcia and Repenning, seconded by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Thank you, sir. Any issue sending number 5 forthwith? We will send number 5 forthwith. Agenda item number 6, Authority for Expenditure, California Regional Water Quality Control Board. The Bureau of Engineering and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $46,425 to the California Regional Water Quality Control Board for 401 permit fees. Mr. Chen.
Hi, Commissioners. This is Wen Chin with the Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Program. This is to request your approval for payment of $46,425 to California Regional Water Quality Control Board. The construction of a Glendale Hyperion complex of bridges involves excavation, backfill, and alteration in the Los Angeles River Channel. We need a permit from the Water Quality Control Board to ensure that our work complies with the United States Clean Water Act, Section 401. The staff of the Water Board completed the review of our project. After we have paid the permit fee, we anticipate receiving the permit. And the permit fee is eligible for reimbursement by the Federal Highway Bridge Program. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Only one question. Is this permit fee kind of standard with, is the amount consistent with what we've been paying in prior similar periods of time?
Actually, the permit fee varies from project to project depending on the scope and the nature of the work. The Water Quality Board has a formula to calculate the permit fee. Basically, they look at how much area within the water channel you will impact, whether they are permanent or temporary impact. So all those factors putting together, after putting together, they will figure out the permit fees.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion on number 6 by Commissioners Davis and Garcia? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 6 forthwith? We'll send number 6 forthwith. Dr. Campbell, that closes our voting items, correct?
That is correct, yes.
I've got a speaker card for general public comment. Roger Hilmer? Mr. Hilmer? Mr. Hilmer? We may have lost him during the long hearing. So no general public comment. That'll close general public comment. So we've cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice week.